Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 Map of the Year series with me, BonBonB. I'm BonBonB, you're very, very welcome. Well, we've already seen the very best rivers, the very best mountain and the very best vanilla maps that 2021 has had to offer. And today we are into the land of fantasy. Now, fantasy maps don't mean that they have to be absolutely crazy and wacky and out there. You can still build very solid, normal city builds on fantasy maps. But they can also lend themselves to different styles of builds that you would not normally contemplate. And today's runner-up, well, it feels like a sci-fi build to me. And for that, there's certain creators that you probably want to head off to, of which I'll talk about one in a moment. Today's runner-up in the fantasy map category is Craterra by SerZib. This map is just the best version of this style of map on the workshop. There are plenty of this style of map on the workshop. This one is, for me, far and away the best of its style. It's niche build, I would say. Certainly if you're looking to do a huge sci-fi city, I can't think of a better map than this one to do that huge sci-fi city on. And you're probably going to want lots of assets from the likes of Quadriators, who is the sci-fi asset creator. There are others on the workshop, but they are the standout creator in that field. And in terms of standout creations, they also have a lot of assets plopped around on the outskirts of this crater. We're running around the outside of the crater. We'll head to the middle in a moment. And such as these ruins down here, these are all Quadriators. And what I like about this area down here is we've got some Nazca lines cut into the forest on the right there, and some Nazca style shapes as well running through the environment. It's a stunning design for a map, stunning design. First reviewed in episode 1244 of What's Map, where I gave it 4 stars for aesthetics, 4 for detail and 4 for gameplay potential. The map requires After Dark, Snowfall and Mass Transit, and uses the Craterra theme mix, which incorporates Cedar Valley 4K, Central Australia, Montebello, Not So Rocky Hills and the Seychelles themes, along with the relights to North Lut. So yes, the map is glorious, the design is glorious. You can just marvel at the thought process, and then not just the thought process, but the way the map has been put together is the highest quality. Now, when you start the map up, there will be a little bit of flooding in the center crater. Nothing that will stop you from building. Nothing that will stop you from building. But if you're irritated by those little flashing warning signs about flooding, it takes a little while for the water to settle down. But once it does, everything is glorious. Absolutely glorious. Heading down into that crater now. The highways and the rail are all well within the believability of a fantasy style map, and that big old intersection there is just the sort of thing that you can only get away with on a map like this. The center crater is just beautiful. It's sectioned. We have these big sections of water and canals, and it just feels absolutely balmy, completely nuts, and yet ready for that immense skyline modern sci-fi style city build. Go all Blade Runner. You know you want to on this one. Not personal to my personal taste, which is probably why it wasn't my outright winner, but I marvel at this. I absolutely marvel at this. I think this is absolutely amazing, and like I say, far and away the best version of this style of map that I could find on the workshop. Well, since I've been looking at maps on the workshop, which is several years now. Anyway, Craterra by SerZib, an absolute beauty of a fantasy map and highly recommended. But this year's winner, well, there was only going to be one winner. Once I saw this, I thought, could there be any more? Could there be any more? It's a map which has got a bit of a background story. And let's say a bit of a background story, quite a long one. So first of all, if we go back to episode 7 of What's Map, we had a map called Delta Range Enhanced by Black Widow. This was before I was giving ratings and it got the seal of approval because I had them back then. So remember Delta Range Enhanced by Black Widow. And then in episodes 364 of What's Map, we reviewed 7th Island Enhanced by Black Widow, which got 12 stars. A proper, again, like Delta Range Enhanced, a proper multi-tiered fantasy style map. And then in episode 966, Ingenium created, or had already created and I reviewed, Grimsoy. Grimsoy, a snowfall map, and one of the best snowfall maps we've ever seen. And whilst not strictly a fantasy map, was fantastical in the same way that the first 2 maps I've just mentioned were. That got 13 stars. Then in episode 1240 we reviewed a map called Mashuppa by SerZib. Now SerZib, I absolutely love them. I think they have got this great vision and they took on a heck of a challenge. They created a map taking those 3 maps I mentioned previously and mashing them together. A mashup map. It was a great vision. Unfortunately, as much as I love SerZib, it was when we take on the challenge, which is just outside of our capabilities. That was the case there with SerZib. It was an amazing vision, and it worked, but it just didn't feel as magical as you would want a combination of those 3 maps to be. And then along came Mashuppa by Anoupou Merynetjerou. Anoupou Merynetjerou, whose name you'll recognise because they had the map of the year for 2020. Yes, that one back then. And with permission, they came along and basically polished Mashuppa into Mashapa. And that's what we have here. So it's a melding of Delta Range Enhanced, 7th Island Enhanced and Grimsoy, which was created and thought of by SerZib, who takes credit and a lot of credit for the base work on it. And then Anoupou, who is a magician when it comes to map work and aesthetics and so forth. Well, they've taken it on to the next level. Mashapa was reviewed in episode 1338. I gave it 5 stars for aesthetics, 4 for detail and 5 for gameplay potential. It requires mass transit. You will need mass transit for this one. And in terms of workshop assets, it has a list of 45 items for its requirements. It uses the Not So Rocky Hills theme, but you'll need Theme Mixer 2 to mix in, manually mixing in, there's no theme mix for it, but manually mixing in the Frostic Fall for sand texture to give you these snowy caps on the tops of the mountains. And we're also using the Coastal LUT. All told, this map has just about everything. If you're looking to do a realistic style build but in a mountainous location, like a Nordic build up there in the wilds of Norway or Canada, then this would be an absolutely perfect map for that. But equally, if you're looking to do something really fantastical Lord of the Rings style, well, this would be a perfect map for that as well. It is a little bit out there fantasy wise as well, because this is Anoupou and Anoupou doesn't mind playing the game of let's make something a little bit crazy, and I appreciate that. I love humour in maps as well, as long as it's not overly played. And this map does have several areas of extreme fantasy, which, if they're not to your taste, can be easily cleared out with a bulldozer tool. It's fine. It's fine. I love it. So if you find the dragons roosting in the mountains, yeah, if you don't want them there, bulldoze them. It's fine. And there are little settlements around the place as well, which have slightly unusual buildings, and we've got some great. You can see up the top here, we've got a fortress on the top of the mountain here. We'll be flying over it in a few moments. There are lots of little areas which have been pre-detailed to the highest, again, Anoupou, Merynetjerou levels as well. It's a glorious map, and along with, let's say, there's probably 7 or 8 different maps that were really on that edge of would it be map of the year, and this one could easily have been map of the year. I actually had the problem with Anoupou as well, because similar to last year, where last year they had the 2 maps on my final shortlist and I only will allow 1 per creator, and I had to choose to axe Mashuppa. It hurt to do so, but I had to axe Mashuppa off of the final shortlist. Anoupou had 2 maps on the final shortlist this year as well, but I didn't find it quite so difficult to axe Hell. Yeah, it was Hell. If you've not seen it, that's an amazing map as well. I felt this one just shone more in terms of playability. I think more people will be happy to play on this one than in what is effectively a very dramatic live volcano map. A beaut that it is, and I can't flaw their work at all. This one, just compared to Hell, it just shines. And it shines because of the background work from the previous creators as well. Without Ingenium, without Black Widow, and without SerMoc's vision of merging those previous maps together, we wouldn't have something as shiny as this. While I mentioned Ingenium, Ingenium was actually on the shortlist, the final shortlist this year as well, in the Alpine category, but unfortunately it was one of those right at the very end that I had to axe, because there's just not, I can't re-show every single final map. So yeah, it was so close to being an Ingenium year. So Ingenium, if you're watching this one, yeah, Ombra, beaut of a map as well, that one. But and again, this one could easily have gone into the mountains category. It could easily have been an Alpine map, but this one does feel more fantasy, given obviously the background that it has from the previous maps as well. And it's just an amazing build. Oh wow! I mean, what will Anoupou give us next year? It's an ongoing chain of outstanding work from this creator, and it kind of felt for a long while that they were going to be map of the year with this one. But I have chosen a map of the year for Saturday, so be there on Saturday to see what I feel that the outright best map of 2021 actually is. We have got something special coming tomorrow as well. That is the realistic category. Realistic covers a whole host of things. It was effectively realistic looking maps that I just felt didn't quite sing mountains or rivers quite as much as the maps that were in the mountains and rivers category, as we fade into the stratosphere up here. So yeah, join me tomorrow for the very best realistic maps. But congratulations to you, to Anoupou, for yet another outstanding map from you. And I'll be back tomorrow with that realistic, so hit the subscribe and notification bell now. Be sure you don't miss it. And have a great day. I'll be back very, very soon with more from the best of 2021. Thanks for watching and have a great day.